Hi, Lisa Johnson here, your Yum Ambassador at Live Yummy. And I want to show you today my favorite tree in the world. It's early spring, and so it has a very short window where it looks this precise way because it will leaf out, and then the whole rest of the season it'll be out. But before it leaves out, you get to see the way a beech tree looks in its early stages before the leaves are quite unfurled. It's just a really cool look. Here it is. These are little bitty baby beech trees, and these are their leaves before they've unfurled for the summer. They've just budded out here and then are in this swirly phase, and I just love this look of them somehow. And over the next week or so, I guess, I don't know, I'll have to see, they're gonna open up and become the leaves that they'll have all summer and fall. There's something about this swirly nature of them that I just love. I love this stage. It's sort of right before the opening. I don't know about you, but I think there's just something about the creativity of that. I'm just putting my hand behind it to give it focus. The creativity of the stage right before the thing happens, you know, right before it opens. I just love that phase. I just love beech trees, though. This one is a funny example of it, but I love the smoothness of their bark. I just love this sort of pale color. And I think I also love beech trees because for a long time my husband and I heated with wood in a wood stove in our first two cabins, the one in Vermont and the one in New Hampshire. And beech trees burn really, really hot. They give off a lot of BTUs. I just have a lot of respect for beech trees, and it's B-E-E-C-H. There's no logical reason why we love what we love necessarily. You know, it's not just the BTUs. There's just something about them. I think partly too that beech trees hang on to their dead leaves in the winter, and so when you're taking a walk through the woods in the winter, they're dried leaves, but they stay on the tree, so it's kind of like a little rustly sound. Has a percussive nature to me. Here's a really nice example of a nice beech tree. Some of the leaves from last year are still on there that made it through the whole winter. Here's a great example of one that's had some sunlight because of this path we're on. And so all these little branches are coming out down at the bottom because they've had a chance when they leaf out to soak up sun. So what's your favorite tree? And do you have any idea why? I mean, sometimes it has to do with like a childhood memory. I have a fondness for oak trees because when I was a little girl, we used to hang out under the oak tree a lot when we could lay on the grass before there were ticks. There was a particular set of lilies of the valley right under that oak tree. And so I loved that oak tree, and it had all these acorns, and we would throw them and try to hit the telephone wires with them, which is a really tough shot, I'll tell you, especially when you're 6. I also really love evergreens because they keep you company all winter long when you're out walking. And I particularly like hemlocks, I think, because they're kind of I don't know, like a hippie evergreen. The needles are kind of in all directions, and I really like that. So I like a lot of trees, but beech is my favorite, and I can't really explain why. It's just sort of a feeling, you know, like a gut thing. And I think it's important for us to love what we love and not worry about all the logic behind it necessarily. I'm really curious, what tree do you love and why? Like, is there a memory associated with it, or the pattern of the leaves or needles? Some other story behind it. I'll tell you one other story about the beech. There were, in one of the cabins that we owned, that we built, we had 60 acres of land. Every day we went out for walks in these woods, and our path had 2 beeches, one on each side of the path, and they reached over like a canopy over us, and we would call them the kissing trees. And every time we were under their boughs, every single time that we walked for 10 years out that pathway, we would kiss, and we just called them the kissing trees. And it was just a really romantic, sweet little lover's canopy that I just felt really sweet about. And so that was part of building my love for beeches for me. So tell me about your favorite tree and why. They seem a little longer, still in a swirl stage though. There's a little bit of like a white tip, and I wonder if that's a different sort of stage. This is a tree that's a little more in the sun. So yes, you can see how that white part is the nascent baby leaves starting to come out of their little protective shell there. And this whole tree has little buds that are doing that. Buds might be the wrong word technically. I'm not a good technical person when it comes to nature. I'm not a scientist, so forgive me. You can see where the green of the leaf is starting to unfurl, but it's so new that it has like baby white fuzz on it. See on the tip there? Whoa, Nelly. And here's a really short little sapling that is right in the sun. And this one is really far extended. You can see that both of these are way pushed out compared to the others. All right, it's about a week later, and we see some of these trees still have now the swirly. See where the leaves are coming out nice and swirly? Woo! I love this part where they kind of are just about to pop, because for the whole rest of the year there'll be leaves, right? But right now they're in that transition stage. I love seeing the beech trees in this transition stage. I think it's because when transitions are happening to me, it feels like torture. It feels kind of an exquisite, excruciating experience. It never feels calm, right? It feels massive, disruptive, and inconvenient and uncomfortable. Transitions disrupt everything inside, right? But when I see it in the beech tree, buds coming out, leaves coming out, I get this sense of beauty. And because it's not my life being disrupted, it looks so beautiful and it looks so inspiring, and like change can bring something beautiful and wonderful and fabulous in the future, right? And so I think that's part of why I like seeing the transition in something else or someone else, because it reminds me to have a better perspective when change is happening in my own life. Now here's a baby beech where the leaves have already popped out, and you can see how beautiful the little leaves are, and they're leaving behind these shells. See the shells of their former life here? And they had to leave behind the protection in order to burst out into a full leaf. They're bursting out, but they're not quite all out yet. And they're just in transition between the twirly thing inside of the little shell and coming out into a leaf. They're right in the middle of that process. Here is a great example of the leaf has twirled itself out from its little protection, but it's still holding on here, and the leaf itself hasn't quite let go right here. See that? It's holding on for its last maybe day of pretending it's got protection, and it's gonna have to let go, but it hasn't quite let go yet. I can really identify with that feeling in my life where I'm almost ready, you know. And I'm just, you know, the thing is, there's no judgment at this stage in our lives. We just are where we are, and there's nothing wrong with it or bad about it or good about it. It's this stage, and it'll be the next stage soon. But right now, it's this one, and look at the fuzz on there. Oh gosh, what a delicate, beautiful little leaf. I love this one right here. I think it's 4 different leaves. Soft, vulnerable, delicate. Ooh, gorgeous. Now this is a great example of life right here. See this leaf that is just beginning its process of coming out of its protection? And right next to it is this one that's already come out a little bit. Now, can you think of situations in your life that are like this, where either you're this one and you're wondering what's going on with this other one, why is it so slow? Or you're this one and you're wondering, how come the other one's ahead of me? And does that make any sense at all? Of course not. We all have our own time. We all have our own process. And it is all beautiful. There isn't a right or wrong here. They are symbiotic. Sisters from another mister, or brothers from another mother. They're right beside each other. They're both perfect, exactly as they should be. There's no reason to judge one over the other. This transition is almost never comfortable, right, in our lives. Going from one whole stage of our lives to another. It's exhausting. And we're really kind of delicate and fragile and vulnerable when we're going through it. And the thing is, this stage does not last for that long. It feels excruciatingly slow when we're in it sometimes, but in the overall scheme of this tree's life, this lasts for about 2 weeks a year. Out of the whole life of the tree, this 2 weeks is gonna be gone by in no time. Oh, that one is twisted and uncomfortable. Look how it's hanging on to the protection. And it just can't quite break through, so it's all kind of twisted. And it'll be fine. We just all have our own adventure, don't we? And some of these trees that are closer to the sunlight, they appear to be leafing out sooner. And the trick for us is to remember that faster isn't better, slower isn't worse. For that matter, slower isn't better and faster isn't worse. We just have the timing that we have. And that's always my challenge as a person trying to live as yummy as possible. Just love my process, love the moment I'm in, because life is so short. So the question for me is always, am I living the beautiful, yummy life that I have in front of me? Celebrating every moment and enjoying it while I can. Remembering that every moment from here on out, I will be older, maybe wiser. Everything that's going well for me might be difficult later, so I might as well enjoy every single beautiful moment that I have right now, right? And some days that's easier than others. Some days I am comparing my process to someone else's, and I guess in some way, can that ever be useful? Yes, I think it can. I think there are times where it can be useful to notice that someone else is getting a lot of joy out of their life and notice that I'm not. And then go within and see what's going on with me, see what I'm afraid of, and look for relief from that and move on. But it is not useful to constantly compare myself to someone else's process. It is useful for me to celebrate, soak up the sun, love the people around me, express what I'm here to express, see if I can help someone else. Those are the things that are useful. It is just not a good use of my time to be absorbed in self-pity or fear or comparisons, especially my insides to your outsides. Like, it's really easy to think you have it all together because of the outside, of how you look outside. But the truth is, we're all just kind of struggling along. We're all just trying to figure it out. And so today, at least, I am really committed to enjoying this beautiful day. Even though it's gonna rain any minute, probably, I'm not letting the weather dictate my internal weather. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to let my leaves unfurl in my own pace, in my own way, and I hope you'll do the same. All right, have a great, yummy day.